Ciao ragazzi, welcome to the channel, to Inter Worldwide. My name is Anthony and we're going slightly off topic, but I love when I get to talk about the Azzurri, and as we all know, Euro 2020, 2021, whatever you want to call it, it's just around the corner. So it's time to have a little bit of a chat about what we think is going to go down, or at least what I think is going to go down. So we're treating ourselves to a little bit of a prediction game here on the Euro 2020 site, and we're going to pot all these teams together in their groups and rank them and see where we think they're going to finish. All I'm going to say is that it's going to be really close. I'm looking at a lot of these teams and their squads and the nations that need to line up against one another, and all I can tell you right now, boys and girls, it's going to be a tough tournament. It's so hard to separate the big sides from one another, and then you've just got so many in the chasing pack. So let's run through it right now. I hope you guys can see what's going on the screen. I'm sure you can. Starting off with Group A, and what do you know? It's Italy. Italia, Mancini, and the Ragazzi are ready to take back a little bit of international pride that we have not had for a long time. This is expected to be a tournament where Italy comes back on the stage and announces itself as a powerhouse nation in world football. In terms of who they come up against, Switzerland, Turkey, and Wales, once again, it's going to be very, very, very hard. I mean, just looking at those sides there, they'll definitely, it's the international tournaments, guys. International tournaments means anybody on their day can win it. So, like, you know, with the Switzerland squad, there's not too many big names that I'd be worried about that could give Italy too much trouble, but with the likes of Granit Xhaka, Xherdan Shaqiri as well, you just really never know what they're going to be able to pull out of the bags. Bruno Mbolo is always a shout, and he's been in some good form for Mönchengladbach here and there in some patches. But I do expect Italy to be able to get 3 points against Switzerland in that situation as well. Having a look at Turkey, I'm going to be honest, I don't recognize a lot of those names because I don't follow the Turkish league at all. Not very well, but Hakan Çalhanoğlu from Milan will be representing strong in that side, and they do have Burak Yilmaz from Lille, who had a good season as well. I just don't see them on their day being able to sustain a full strength Italian side either. And, you know, Golf, Wales, Real Madrid in that order. Gareth Bale will lead a pretty decent looking Welsh side. Just looking right there at their squad. Aaron Ramsey as well. They've got a couple of decent players, but once again, there's no reason why that squad will be any match for Italy. I've gone through the Italian squad on this channel already. I don't think I need to go through it because it will eat up a lot of time with this video. So I'm going to go right ahead and put the Azzurri here as first place in Group A. Then as the last, as I said, it's really anyone's day and anyone's game. I find that in international tournaments, Switzerland usually have a little bit of grit about them to get to that quarterfinal round of 16 stage. And we did see Wales get there in the last Euro tournament as well. So for Turkey, I do think Turkey's going to fall bottom of this group, but hey, once again, could be wrong. And then it's really just a toss of the coin for these two sides. Ragazzi, I'm not too sure, and I'm not going to pretend that I do know. So for me personally, I'm going to say that Switzerland on their day might get a little bit more out of Wales, and that's how we're going to end Group A. Hopefully I'm right, and Italy finishes that group, hopefully with 3 wins out of 3. Moving along to Group B. Oh, geez, another tough one, but once again, a side that you should be able to put right at the top there is Belgium. The likes of Romelu Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne are just going to be way too much for any team to handle. On top of that, their midfield is just absolutely stacked. Thomas Meunier, De Bruyne, as I said, Carrasco, Yuri Tielemans, Torgan Hazard, Axel Witsel. It's going to be a great team. On top of that, Dries Mertens, Benteke, Batshuayi, and Eden Hazard are all in the squad. They've got depth. Their defense should be enough to hold off any of the sides in this particular group. I see absolutely zero reason why Belgium don't walk away top of this group here. From the 3 sides that remain, you've got a Russian squad that, you know, will really, they'll look to get the points where it counts, which is against Finland, obviously. But we'll have to see how they go against Denmark. I think that's how it will come down to it. Players like Golovin might cause a little bit of trouble as well. But yeah, I don't know any of those other names really, not too many of them that play in the Russian league. So Russia's just a real gutsy sort of nation. You can always expect to fight. You can always expect to fight from them. And I've just remembered in international tournaments, they've always been difficult to beat, always tricky. For Denmark, once again, not too sure how they'll go. It'll be a toss-up for them too for me. So let me know in the comments on this video what you think and who I've missed out on. But yeah, I'm going to go with Russia in second spot and Denmark in third. Let's move along to Group C, where this gets pretty tricky. It does get pretty tricky. Having not known much about any of these squads, but look at the way that North Macedonia have been able to get themselves a spot in this tournament. You know, it's kind of like a fairy tale story, really, from a nation that's so small with such a young footballing history as their own nation of North Macedonia, being led by Goran Pandev, treble winner for Inter. Who knows what they can pull off? And I think they might even be a surprise of the group, to be honest, because looking at their competition, they've got some beatable sides there. The Ukraine does not boast too much of a threat in terms of their side, although Ruslan Malinovsky for Atalanta can score from anywhere, and Marlos for Shakhtar Donetsk is quite a good player. I know that. They've also got Stepanenko from Shakhtar Donetsk as well. You never know. They do look a little bit stronger than North Macedonia, but maybe North Macedonia just have that little bit more pride and incentive in this particular tournament, being their first major tournament in such a long time. And of course, David Alaba will lead an Austrian side that will look, along with, you know, players like, who knows, even Valentino Lazzaro might get the run out, although I'm not too sure he's 100% fit. Yeah, Austria, on the other hand, not too sure what they can do. The Netherlands, you know, they've started a lot, guys, in the previous years. They're really lacking consistency. And, you know, especially when you bring in a coach like Frank de Boer, it's not going to be stable for a while. It's not a strong-looking side. It's not the strongest-looking Dutch side you've ever seen. But with Quincy Promes, you know, Depay, De Jong, Van de Beek, Klaassen, Wijnaldum, I think they've got enough talent. De Vrij as well, and I think obviously De Ligt should be there. I don't think Van Dijk's going to the Euros. I'm not too sure. He's not in the squad here. So there you go. I don't think Van Dijk's going to the Euros. But they'll have way too much strength for me. So the Dutch go into top spot. And this is a real pot thing, and I'm just going to fluke it. I'm going to say that North Macedonia upset everyone and get into the next round. Although I could be wrong there. Austria and the Ukraine coming in fourth for Group C. All right, getting down to the last three groups. Group D, Scotland, England, which should be a great game, Croatia and the Czech Republic. Not knowing too much about Scotland's squad apart from the obvious ones, I think we'll go to England first, actually. England definitely crying out for some international glory, definitely crying out for a trophy after having so many expectations in so many major tournaments. But, you know, they've got decent players. You got your players like Alexander Arnold, who have got the chemistry with players like Jordan Henderson. Harry Kane, obviously, will be a go-to there. I'm pretty sure he's in the squad. Their squad hasn't been released yet, so this one I'm just kind of fluking without looking at anything. I think players like Luke Shaw, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford. So I think England's got a decent squad. I think England does have a decent squad. Scotland, on the other hand, with your the only ones I really know in their side are Scott McTominay, Andy Robertson, and what's his name? He's a defender for Arsenal. Kieran Tierney. Yeah, that's the one, Kieran Tierney. Yeah, so not too much going on there for the Scottish side, I don't think. Croatia, on the other hand, Šimi Versatiko, I know he's in the squad there. Marcelo Brozovic, Ivan Perisic. You know, a team that, you know, Luka Modric as well, Rakitic. It's going to be a tough team. They're always gutsy. They're always greedy. Croatia's going to get a spot in there for me. England, number 1. Croatia, number 2. Scotland, 4. The Czech go in at 3. I haven't done much research on the Czech Republic squad. Let me just do a quick little scroll through their one now. They are still to release their squad as well for Euro 2020 as I'm recording this video. So that might have actually changed, which is weird because this is still up to date. But yeah, anyway, Czech Republic, I don't think we'll be able to do much of the damage there. So expecting England to go through. Group E, Poland, Spain, Sweden, and Slovakia. Robert Lewandowski with 41 goals. 41 goals for Poland. Sorry, not for Poland, for Bayern Munich. this season. What an incredible season. I think that they're going to be able to actually do some damage in this tournament if they can feed him the right amounts of ball possession. Spain, on the other hand, not their strongest. It's not their strongest run, is it? They're not going through their best streak at the moment. David De Gea is a little bit all over the place with his goalkeeping, and when you look at their defense, there's not too much there. And without Sergio Ramos, who, by the way, was the last Real Madrid player standing in that squad for the first time in, I think, in a long, long time, Spain are not taking a Real Madrid player to a major tournament. That's bizarre. A midfield of players like Busquets, Conque, Lorenta, Thiago, Rodri, Fabian, Marcos Llorente. They've still got some dynamic players in there, but I don't even think the forwards are that dynamic either, with your likes of Morata. I just don't trust him. Gerard Moreno, who will just be celebrating a Villarreal win in the Europa League. Dani Olmo, Pedri, and Fernan Torres. I think that this Spain squad is actually quite weak, and I think that these other sides in the group, like Sweden and Slovakia, might be able to look at Spain and say, you know, well, we might actually have a chance here. The Swedish squad was meant to have Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but he was ruled out, so they'll be relying on the likes of Dejan Kulusevski, Alexander Isak as well to get them the goals, as well as Jordan Larson. But they don't look like they'll pose too much of a threat to me, Switzerland. But once again, with a weaker Spain side, you really never know how that could go. With the Slovakian side, well, maybe we've got a soft spot for Slovakia, right? Because in this channel, Milan Skriniar is one of our fan favorites. Marek Hamšík should still make that squad as well, by the looks of things as well. Besides that, I'm not too familiar with any other name there besides the forward Robert Bosnić from Feyenoord. Depends how much time he will get on the pitch. So with this prediction for Group E, you know what? Let's go for a little bit of an upset and get Poland in at first, Spain second, Slovakia third, and no Zlatan, no party for Sweden. They finished bottom for me, but I could be very wrong. It could be a completely different situation there. Once again, a very hard group to call. Speaking of hard, speaking of best till last, Group F, Portugal, France, Germany, Hungary. There is a group of death, and it is the last one. Portugal with a very good-looking side. I mean, when I look at the likes of João Cancelo, Pepe is still in the squad as well, João Moutinho, Danilo Pereira, Bruno Fernandes, Ruben Neves as well, Cristiano Ronaldo, the obvious one, Andre Silva, who's been on fire for Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga, Bernardo Silva, who obviously a stellar player for Real Madrid. I'm still not done yet. Informed players like Diogo Jota and João Felix, not to mention Gonzalo Guedes if things get really bad, which it shouldn't. That's a really sexy looking Portugal side. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen them that depth filled in a long time. And you know what? They are the reigning champions, so it's only right to give them the respect. But speaking of respect, you've got the reigning world champions as well. France. What a team. What a squad. From goalkeepers down, Rafael Varane will probably head the defensive line, but with Lucas Digne, Pavard, Hernandez, Kimpembe, where do you go wrong? Kurt Zuma as well, Lenglet, and then the midfield just gets even better. An informed N'Golo Conte, Pogba, Sissoko. It's going to be crazy. I don't know. Yeah, Sissoko is going to the tournament. I think he actually kept one of the players. Who was it that he kept out? Was it Ndombele? Ndombele from Tottenham. He kept him out, yeah. And their forward lineup, you know, with players like Lemar, Dembele, Benzema as well, and of course Antoine Griezmann, Giroud, and Kylian Mbappe, probably the best player in the world at the moment by Lionel Messi. It's hard to not really pick them. And with a Germany team that is kind of starting to look like a shadow, if not, it definitely is a shadow of its 2014 World Cup self. This is going to be a hard group for the Germans, although you still need to look at their team with players like Hummels, Rudiger, Ginter. Emre Can will be in the squad. Robin Gosens has had a great season for Atalanta. He's one of the most informed left-backs in Europe. If you are watching and you don't watch Serie A football, Toni Kroos as well will be pretty much the head of that midfield in terms of pushing it forward with Kimmich, Muller, Ilkay Gundogan, who's had a fantastic season for Manchester City, along with Leon Goretzka. And then the attack, you know, Sane, Havertz behind it, Werner, Serge Gnabry. It's still a very, very good-looking side. So what a group that's going to be. And then you got poor Hungary, and they're like, why do we have to put up with this shit? Hungary come to the tournament and they've got to deal with these three nations, it's not looking good for them to the point where I'm not even going to go through their squad. Hey, poor guys, if they surprise me and get anything besides fourth in this group, that'll be a miracle. So guys, how do you separate these three teams? There's no way I can get this right. Portugal, France, Germany. It's so hard. I'm going to put the Germans in third. I think they maybe drop a game or two. I think Cristiano Ronaldo and his side get through to the next round, but in second position. And I do think France might be able to take 7 points at the minimum out of this group. But I could be wrong, and I wish I was wrong, because as an Azzurri and Italian fan, I want France to fail. Seeing them do well is not good. So guys, as we can see, the groups here, Italy and Switzerland to top Group A and go through. Belgium and Russia, Netherlands and North Macedonia as a little bit of a wild card, England and Croatia, Poland, Spain, France, Portugal. Obviously going to get some wrong. Let's keep it going. I know it's a little bit of a wild thing, but we can actually go through and do the rest of the tournament as well. Predict the 4 best third place teams. The 4 with the most points will progress to the knockout stage. These formats, man. These formats. I remember Euro 2016. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why has Italy drawn Spain in the round of 16 when Portugal has had less? I don't know, man. It was bizarre. It was bizarre. So out of this, the 4 with the most points will progress. Let's go with Germany. This is where it gets tough. Where it gets tough. Trying to look at how strong the opponents are above them and how little points that they can get. Slovakia. I think Wales can make it hard for people, and Denmark as well. There we go. Let's continue to the knockout stage. If Anthony's predictions were to turn out correct, we would have Belgium up against Slovakia, which is a Belgian pick for me. We would have Italy against North Macedonia, which is a shoo-in for the Azzurri for me, setting up a huge tie with Belgium in the quarterfinals. France and Wales, for me, that would be all France. Croatia and Spain, that's a really tough game. Really tough game. I really don't, I'm not backing Spain in this particular tournament. If I'm wrong, good for them, but I'm really not. I'll go Croatia. Poland and Denmark. Gee, it pays to be on this game, doesn't it? I'll go Poland, Lewandowski, too good. England and Portugal, another classic one between these two nations. I think England are really going to go into this tournament wanting to do something, wanting to push on and go hard. As reigning champions, you know, I've never seen a side win a Euro tournament back-to-back. I don't think it's about to start. Portugal's bubble could burst at any moment. So I'm actually going to... Oh, but their squad's so good. This is a tough one. And I'm spending a lot of time on it, aren't I, guys? I apologize for that. I'm going to go Portugal. That was very close to picking England. Netherlands and Germany, that's a big game right there. Both teams with squads are not as strong as they would like and form not as they would like. I'm actually going to go Germany. So if Germany can creep their way into the round of 16 on this particular side of the draw, they might be able to sneak their way deep into the tournament, albeit not playing the best football. Switzerland, Russia to cap it off, that's another game that's almost impossible to call from this point in time in the tournament. So I'm actually going to pick Switzerland because you do see them make these sort of runs. If everything was to come off the way I'm predicting, we have a quarterfinal of Belgium versus Italy. What a shit shame. What a pain in the ass, because that's probably, well, to be the best, you got to come up against. And as good as this Italy side is, for me, Belgium could be the favourite of the tournament. However, let's move on to the other games first, because I've still got that 2-0 win against Belgium when Antonio Conte was coach in 2016 and got that 2-0 easy victory there. So it could happen again, you never know. The game between France and Croatia, let's go with France, in my opinion there. Poland versus Portugal. Now that Portugal break through against England, I think they'll be too strong there again. And Germany, I'm telling you, just get through the group. If Germany can get through the group, they make a deep run. It's not my real prediction, so I can't do it. I want to go with my heart and say that Italy's going to... Mancini's men, they're strong, and they're going to be strong. But to go up against North Macedonia and then have to transition from that to Belgium, I don't know. I'm going to look stupid for doing this, and I'm going to look like even more of a traitor for predicting it. But with players like Kevin De Bruyne and Romelu Lukaku and that stacked midfield of talent, I'm going to actually go for Belgium. Belgium and France in the semi-finals, as well as Portugal and Germany. Yeah, I'm just going to keep going till the end, guys. This is my prediction. My prediction and my prediction only. Belgium and Portugal in the final. It could go any way, honestly. I do think Italy can make a deep run. If I can end this video, which has been a lot of fun, I do think Italy can make a deep run in this tournament. Of course, it comes down to who you play. In 2016, Conte got the team to a quarterfinal against Germany, and we pushed them all the way to penalties. It was very close, and it could happen again. So from an Azzurri standpoint, guys, that's what I think it's going to look like. I do think Belgium are going to be the champions, but you know, if I could take it back, I do think Italy could go through, and then if they could go through against France, fantastic, and Portugal were even better. But yeah, for now, I'll stick with my main prediction that we've got Belgium powering through not only the group stage, but all the way to, well, I've never seen them win a major tournament in my life, and I haven't really looked up the history there. So yeah, you guys can let me know if Belgium has won a major tournament before I get a chance to check. Guys, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to Inter Worldwide. Comment who you think's going through from the group stages, who's making the deep run, who's bowing out early, and most importantly, who is going to be crowned the International European Country Champion for Euro 2020, Euro 2021. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Forza Inter still. But for this one, Forza Azzurri.